Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford both need to be dropped. Because Marcus Rashford, he's been out of form recently. You know, he's been getting in front of goal and his decision making's then been poor, his finishing's been poor and his passing has been poor. But I think in general anyway, Marcus Rashford does need a rest because I think we have overplayed him. Don't get me wrong, you know, he's enjoyed some very, very good games under Solskjaer. Marcus Rashford is more effective out wide than he is centrally, so we need to keep him on that left-hand side. Marcus Rashford has been a United player since the age of 7. And he's been in our senior squad since 2016. And Anthony Martial, he's been out of form for the vast majority of this season. He's obviously had chances, but he hasn't converted them. Probably Martial's best game this season was the 9-0 win against Southampton because he come off the bench and got a brace. Solskjaer actually backs Anthony Martial to rediscover his form. Solskjaer was the one that gave Martial that number 9 shirt. Martial was good last season and he was good in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. He has been at the club now for over 5 years. You can play Martial centrally and you can also put him out wide. Martial was totally anonymous against West Brom recently and his movement off the ball was very, very poor. So does Martial have a long-term future at Manchester United? You know, should we consider selling him in the summer? Because I've got to say now that Edinson Cavani has overtaken him. Edinson Cavani has made a fantastic impact since he's come to Manchester United. I like the way Edinson Cavani holds up the play. He scores goals, he creates chances, his movement in and out of the box is very, very good. Cavani weren't great against West Brom though. I thought he was quiet for the vast majority of the game and lacked chances. And that seldom happens when it comes to Cavani. We got Edinson Cavani on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a second year. So, just wanted to say that. Now, I think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer must deal with the goalkeeper situation. Actually, Gary Neville had come out and said this recently. Gary Neville's also said we need to sign a world-class goalkeeper to replace David De Gea. Now, Solskjaer's already warned David De Gea that his place is not guaranteed in the Manchester United team, but he says no one's place is safe at Man United. They've obviously got to earn their place by putting good performances in. And Solskjaer's actually admitted that it's becoming more and more difficult to leave Dean Henderson out of the side, because I think Dean Henderson is now reliable enough to become our number 1 goalkeeper. You know, Dean Henderson has got that experience behind him. He enjoyed 2 successful loans with Sheffield United and he has done well in the games he has played in this season. I think at some point he will become our number 1. But I think for at least this season, David De Gea is going to remain our number 1. David De Gea did well in the West Brom game. Made 2 very, very good saves to deny Diagne in the space of a few seconds. I think he also made a save from Robert Snodgrass. David De Gea kept us in that game against West Brom. You know, if it wasn't for him, we'd have probably lost that game, to be honest with you. David De Gea did get criticised the other week, though. because obviously he made 2 bad mistakes in our 3-3 draw with Everton. Effectively, David De Gea cost us that game. This is David De Gea's 10th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant. But in the last couple of years, he has made calamitous mistakes. But a few years ago, David De Gea was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. When he does leave Manchester United, I think he will go back to Spain. Now, I am still Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in at this present time. Like I've said, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be given at least another season at the football club. This is his 3rd season at the moment and his 2nd full season. We have been in bad form recently. We've only won 1 of our last 5 league games. But in recent months before this bad period, I think Solskjaer's done well. Performances have improved and certain players have improved. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said after the 1-1 draw with West Brom that we are still in the title race. And he will not settle for 2nd in the title race. I think that's just Solskjaer playing mind games, because he made an admission after our 3-3 draw with Everton, and he said we shouldn't be considered as title chasers. Now, yeah, the title has now gone for Manchester United. I've totally disregarded it. I think the vast majority of Man United fans have totally disregarded it. We are sitting 2nd in the Premier League. Manchester City are 7 points clear of us, I think, with a game in hand. I don't know if we're going to win a title under Solskjaer. I do think, though, we'll win another title at some point. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so we haven't won it now for like 8 years. So now obviously our aim is to finish in the top 4. I can almost assure that we'll finish in the top 4 this season. I'm very, very sceptical we'll finish out of the top 4. Solskjaer knows how imperative it is to get his first trophy on the board as Man United manager. And like I've said to you, the FA Cup is a chance of a trophy. We are in the FA Cup quarter-finals, but Leicester's going to be a difficult game. We are the 2nd most successful team in FA Cup history. We have won 12. And the Europa League is a chance of a trophy. We haven't won a trophy since 2017, and a club of our stature need to be winning trophies. I think we do deserve a lot of credit for sticking with Solskjaer, because we certainly have enjoyed bad periods under him. We're enjoying a pretty bad period at the moment. Was poor earlier on this season. Solskjaer got criticised a lot. Was poor at the start of last season. We enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. But like I say, us sacking Solskjaer wouldn't solve anything, because I don't think there's anyone available. Don't forget, Mauricio Pochettino was the favourite to take over Man United when Solskjaer was under serious pressure. He was the favourite to take over the club after Jose Mourinho got sacked. But Pochettino's now at the equation anyway, because he is at PSG. There again, you can say Julian Nagelsmann's available. It said earlier on this season he was on our agenda. Thomas Tuchel's not, because obviously he's now Chelsea's manager. But yeah, we've got to give Solskjaer at least another season. If we don't win a trophy, I'd say in the next 15-16 months, then I would say sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I think he is the best manager since Ferguson. He's certainly a much better manager than David Moyes was. Solskjaer has been Manchester United manager for over 2 years now. And reflecting now on he's been at the football club, he has gained some managerial experience. And he's learnt quite a bit on the job. Man United is the third club in his managerial career. He's managed over 100 games as Man United manager in all competitions. If we finish in the top 4 this season, I think we will give Solskjaer a new contract at the end of this season, because he says we will wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Solskjaer, and it said we could offer him a new 2-year deal. Solskjaer's got just 16 months left on his current contract. Solskjaer signed a 3-year contract in March 2019. That's obviously when he got the job permanently. Obviously, we did appoint Solskjaer in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. But one of my biggest concerns about Solskjaer, like I've said before, is his decision making. Because in a lot of his games at Manchester United, he has been tactically naive. And there's been some games, though, where he has showed tactical flexibility. You know, let's put into the equation, Solskjaer's got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals. You know, he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost that to Man City 2-0. You know, Solskjaer did well last season in his first full season. He guided us to 3 semi-finals, so he's got us to 4 semi-finals so far in total. You know, last season got us a 3rd place finish, the 2nd highest we've finished since Ferguson, and he got us qualification for the Champions League. And we went on a 19-game unbeaten run as well in all competitions last season, so that was obviously a good period. I think we was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. And we've also got a very, very good away record. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. The last time we lost away from home in the Premier League was to Liverpool back in January 2020. And to Solskjaer's credit, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he came in. And he's also made good signings. Obviously, Solskjaer, though, hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in. You know, Solskjaer has enjoyed 4 transfer windows so far as permanent Man United manager, and he's spent over £200 million. The board have not backed Solskjaer enough, but the board haven't backed any of the managers enough that we've had since Ferguson retired. So the board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years. Woodward has come out several times to show his support for Ollie, and he said towards the end of last year that he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. This year's summer transfer window is very, very important for Manchester United, because we do need to make some signings. It was a disappointing January transfer window for us, because we only saw one arrival, and that was Amad Diallo Traore. I think he'll be good assets for the first team. Amad Diallo Traore has been doing very, very well for the first team. For the under-23s. But Solskjaer did say a few times during the January transfer window that he wasn't expecting any signings. He says we are prepared to smash our transfer record in the summer. And Ed Woodward is set to hand Solskjaer a huge war chest to sign top players in all areas. And I've already given you the 3 areas where Man United need to strengthen up. I think a new centre-back is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priority. It recently said we had a 5-man centre-back shortlist. Now, on my recent video, I did give you the news on Sergio Ramos from Real Madrid. Now, Manchester United could sign Sergio Ramos. Recent reports have said that Sergio Ramos will leave Real Madrid this summer on a free transfer. Sergio Ramos has rejected 2 contract offers from Real Madrid. Sergio Ramos said the other week that he wants to join Manchester United. Now, if we was to get Sergio Ramos, it'd be only short term because obviously he is the age of 34, but I think he would go very, very well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. Sergio Ramos has been a long-serving player at Real Madrid. He's been with Real Madrid now, 16 years? He's won 22 major honours with them. He's made over 600 appearances in all competitions. He must have scored 100 goals, or is it just over 100 goals? Real Madrid paid €27 million for him from Sevilla back in 2005. Dayot Upamecano was on our agenda, but he's now totally out of the equation because he's going to be joining Bayern Munich. David Carmo from Braga, he's been another centre-half on our agenda. Tyrone Mings from Villa's been on our agenda. Rafael Varane's also been on our agenda, but I'm very, very sceptical we'll get him. I think he'll stay at Real Madrid, will Rafael Varane. Jules Koundé as well. You already know the news on him. Not so long ago, I give you the news on Erling Haaland from Borussia Dortmund. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made a new Erling Haaland transfer admission. Solskjaer said he's following Erling Haaland's progress, and Solskjaer opens up on Haaland relationship. We know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to sign Erling Haaland. Solskjaer knows the player really, really well. Solskjaer obviously worked with him during his time at Molde. Don't forget, back in December 2019, Woodward and Solskjaer went up to Norway to meet up with Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Manchester United. And Erling Haaland's father earlier on this season spoken about his son's transfer links to Man United. But since Haaland's arrival at Dortmund, he's been a revelation. Scored like 38 goals in 40 games. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him, and he's got a contract with Dortmund until 2024. Next year, he'll be available for £68 million because that's when his release clause does become active. Solskjaer did give us an update recently, and he said our summer transfer plans could be affected by the pandemic, but despite the pandemic, I'm still expecting us to do some business in the summer. Obviously our current squad isn't good enough to win the league at the moment, but I can say it's certainly good enough to finish at least in the top 4. I think in the summer, more players will leave Man United. Like I said, Paul Pogba could leave in the summer. But there's also a chance he'll stay at Manchester United potentially past the summer. Now, I recently give you an update on Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba could return from injury sooner than expected. Paul Pogba has got a thigh injury at the moment. Solskjaer revealed Paul Pogba could be out for a few weeks. In recent months, the vast majority of Paul Pogba's performances have been very, very good, to his credit. Earlier on this season, he had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. So he has now sustained a few injuries at Man United, but he is a big miss without a shadow of a doubt. Now, Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. These three clubs that are in for him, and that's Real Madrid, PSG and Juventus. I think, to be honest with you, there is a good chance that Paul Pogba will go back to Juventus. You know, reports from Italy recently said that Juventus offered us 4 players in exchange for Paul Pogba. But Pogba had enjoyed 4 exceptional years at Juventus before he rejoined Manchester United. If we are to sell him this summer, I think we'd demand around £75 million. Paul Pogba's agent, Mino Raiola, admits that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. Mino Raiola refused to comment on Paul Pogba's future. Because let's be honest, Mino Raiola's been criticised a hell of a lot by Man United. Don't think he's got a great relationship with the club, to be honest with you. Mino Raiola made an announcement back in December regarding Pogba, and Solskjaer wasn't happy with Mino Raiola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. Solskjaer said not so long ago that Pogba could sign a new contract with Man United. He insists that Paul Pogba's happy, and we have held talks regarding his future. Last month, it said Paul Pogba is considering making a U-turn at the club, and he contradicted his agent, Mino Raiola, for the second time. Matthias Pogba, Paul Pogba's brother, recently advised us to sell Paul Pogba if we are to get the money, because he could leave for nothing next year. And he said he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on Paul Pogba's contract, so he's under contract with the club until June 2022. He is our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid £89 million for him. And this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. Juan Mata, now I think there's a good chance he'll leave in the summer. His current contract expires in the summer, but we do have an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Juan Mata's future is uncertain. He don't play a lot now. You know, I think Juan Mata's had a good career at Man United. He's been at the club over 6 years. You know, we got Juan Mata in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. Earlier on this season, he rejected an £18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Matic, you know, he could be sold in the summer as well. He isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but Matic, you know, still gets his chances. And I've always had my reservations about Matic, because he's always been a slow player and he's had some bad games as a Man United player. But on the other side of things, he's also had some good games. We got Matic in a deal worth £40 million. You know, could we offload Daniel James in the summer? Phil Jones as well, I'm expecting us to get rid of him this year. Phil Jones has been out of injury for the past 12 months, but Solskjaer said he's going to be given a second chance. But yeah, there's quite a few players that don't even get in our 11. You know, Jones doesn't get in it. Williams doesn't get in it. Mata doesn't get in it. Tuanzebe doesn't get in it. Daniel James doesn't get in it. So there's quite a few players. On my next video, I will be giving you a preview for the Real Sociedad Man United game. It's the Europa League round of 32 first leg. It's going to be played in Turin, as you all know, due to the travel restrictions in Spain. It won't be an easy game against Real Sociedad. You know, Real Sociedad are 5th in the La Liga. Their current manager is Imanol Alguacil. I think I've pronounced his name correctly that time. Real Sociedad have obviously got Adnan Januzaj. He's a former Manchester United player. Adnan Januzaj's come out and said that he's got nothing to prove on the reunion with the club. They've also got David Silva of Real Sociedad. They got him last year on a 3. They've got Carlos Fernandez. They brought him in back in January. They've also got Monreal. I think it's the Monreal that used to play for Arsenal. They've also got that Normand. They've got that Lopez. Don't forget Real Sociedad lost Willian Jose. They also lost Diego Llorente. But like I said, you know, the Europa League is a priority for us. We got to the semi-finals last season, lost to Sevilla 2-1. We won the Europa League back in 2017 under Jose Mourinho. I think Solskjaer will make changes in this game from the 1-1 draw West Brom. I think he has got to rotate, if I'm going to be honest with you. And our next league game is Newcastle, and we should be winning that. But like I've said to you already, you know, these players that are really, really improving at Manchester United. You know, like I said, Luke Shaw's really, really improved. Bay's done well. I certainly prefer Bay ahead of Lindelof. Lindelof's a liability, but for me, Eric Bay's just too injury prone. Hopefully Bay can get a chance in this game against Sociedad. Wan-Bissaka, he's also really, really improving. You've got, you know, Fred that's improving. Recently made his 100th appearance. Said Pogba's done well before he got that thigh injury. You know, Rashford, he's been out of form, but I still think he's improved. You know, Cavani's made a fantastic impact. Mason Greenwood, he's done very, very well recently. Donny van der Beek is a good player when he plays, but most of Donny van der Beek's appearances come from the bench. Like I said, Dean Henderson has done well in the games he's played in. Harry Maguire, he's enjoyed some good games this season. But like I say, we haven't been the same team since Ferguson. No one's going to do what Ferguson did at the club. We've got to accept that. You know, we've been poor now for the last, 7.5, 8 years. You know, 3 managers have been sacked since Ferguson. So there you go. So anyway guys, that's everything to update for today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.